Hi again. Oh, I can't even imagine a more perfect song. Oh, gosh. Except this one, and you know it, sing with me. It starts with row. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Well, here we are, in the middle of a dream. Ooh, but I better start my timer. I know. We can wake up and know the deep, never-ending, pure spirit that we always are. But that doesn't stop the human dream. We are spiritual beings, and we are having a human experience. We say that often here. To my mind, there's no escaping that both of these are true all of the time. And that's what I'm talking about today. I came up with so many names for this talk. I'm going to share a few of them because I hope that'll give you kind of an idea of my topic. Earth School, Planet of Paradoxes, Embrace It All, You Are Perfect, and There's Always Room for Growth, and Jello. Peace in the Midst of Chaos, The Hardest Assignment, Bringing Spirit to Earth, Non-Duality, You Are Home, There's Nowhere Else to Go. Everything is an aspect of love. Next, I'd like to lead you in a little bit of guided imagery. This particular one I learned from the work of Dr. Milton Erickson, Neurolinguistic Programming, and Tim Kelly and Beth Scanzani of True Purpose Institute. So it's going to start out a little bit like the meditation, but if you're willing, hold your palms out. Hold your hands out, palms up, and you're welcome to rest them on your lap or the chair, hand, whatever. In one hand, just pick which one, doesn't matter. Feel the energy that hopefully came to you in the meditation, the energy of spirit or God, guides, peace, Jesus, Buddha, whatever it is for you, whatever name resonates. Feel that energy, just let it sit in your hand and do whatever you can to really feel it. Now, in your other hand, let the energy of something difficult come in. But don't overwhelm yourself. You get to pick how hard a thing it is. It may be a personal ache, pain, grief, or trauma, or it may be something that's happening in the world. Just feel the energy of that, and don't, as I said, don't make it too hard. Make it what works for you in this moment. Now imagine that the hard thing in your hand is shrinking. So instead of being in your awareness 100%, let it shrink down to 50%. See if you can do that. Just feel. And sometimes it's helpful if you kind of bring your hand back. It feels like it's shrinking. And when it's growing, you can move your hand forward. But whatever works for you. Okay. Now maybe let it get bigger, maybe up to 75%, something that's difficult. And then maybe take it all the way down to 10%. And just be aware, you have some choice how you experience difficult, hurt, painful things. And now just let that be, whatever, pick a percent, let it be. And now do the same thing for the energy in the other hand, the energy that's love, unconditional love, spirit, whatever that is. And practice letting that be 100%. Well, actually it can't be any more than 99.9 because the other hand always has at least 0.1. So, and then let it shrink down, as we all do when we get busy or worried or, read the news or whatever. And just practice now, letting your hands, and you can move them or just imagine one's getting bigger, maybe the spirit's bigger, the pain is smaller, then move it the other way. Pain gets bigger. Spirit gets smaller. No, make them kind of equal. Okay. So now put this exercise aside for a bit. You can just turn your hands over. You can do a namaste. Just be aware that energy is there. Okay. We're going to come back to this exercise at the end. So we do have some amount of choice, right? But not complete choice over what and how we experience being human. Our thoughts, our feelings, the events going on inside us, around us, the world, the heavens, the universe. None of us escape from difficulties, small or large. We have scraped knees, we have illness, we have people who die. Pain has its own timeline, as we all know. We can wish it would be gone in a flash, but it might take an hour. It might take a month. It might take many years. Sometimes our painful experiences get stuck. Most of us have had at least some amount of that experience where they go so deep inside, sometimes we don't even know where they came from, why we have this anger or sadness or guilt or even hate. But it's in there. And while we can do our best to ignore it, we can't pretend it away. It will come out somehow or other. Sometimes it's a stomachache. Lots of ways it can come out. At the same time, the energy of love, joy, sweetness, blessings, comfort, and the peace that passes understanding are always present, always the lasting truth of who we are. So that's why you can't go 100% one way or the other. We're always human and divine, at least as long as we're in a body. So to my way of thinking, everything is God. And I mean everything. I believe we have an agreement with God to come to earth and be human over and over, to learn and grow until we no longer need our separate identities, but merge with all that is. Some of us really long for that merger. Some of us really work on getting there. Some of us don't. It's okay. But until it happens, we are human and divine at the same time. And I believe that being fully here and not running away from anything is what Spirit asks of us. Can you be in pain and peace at the same time? To me, this is the hardest and highest lesson that faces us as human beings who have come to Earth School for our advanced degrees. It's not one or the other, it's both and. The percentages can change, as we just have been playing with, but we can't pretend away the many forms of learning and growing that Earth offers us. So here's a couple of quotes that kind of speak to this. This one's from Neil Donald Walsh. On this day of your life, I believe God wants you to know that positive thinking does not mean turning into an ostrich. Burying your head in the sand in the name of staying positive is not a good strategy. Wearing blinders rather than looking right at what's going on right now is not the way to create your vision for tomorrow. Wearing blinders is not the way. And this is a quote from Alua Arthur, who is a death doula and whose work is called Going with Grace. My thoughts have turned to the kind of love that holds space for grief, uncertainty, and the deep challenges we face collectively. In the wake of devastating fires in California and an increasingly polarized political climate, I found myself reflecting on the true essence of love. Love goes beyond grand gestures and romantic displays. It is compassion, resilience, community, and the quiet ways we hold and lift one another up when the world feels unbearable. As human beings, we're pretty good at focusing on the doo-doo of life, yeah? Yeah. We set goals, we compete, we try to succeed, we want to get A's, right? And then when things don't work out so well, we blame ourselves or we blame each other. And we do that when we think things go wrong, i.e. are difficult or painful, right? Our brains are set up to scan for danger. That's been true for eons of human existence. That's how we kept ourselves safe. And we're set up, if we think there is danger, and we're not always right about that, but if we think there is, we either fight, flee, freeze, or fawn. That's a new one for some of you, for me. But you can think about what's going on in our government, and you know what fawn means. We create and find spiritual spaces and places of many kinds to help us balance all those tendencies about doing the doo-doo. So we need help to remember and experience the love, peace, kindness, sweetness, and caring that sometimes get lost or buried, or that we never learned in the first place. We need reminders. It's a big part of why I come here on Sundays, and I imagine maybe some of you, that's the case too. So sometimes we may need to block out the negative and only focus on the beautiful or the unconditional love. But when we do that, we're leaving out half of God. When I was horribly sick a couple of weeks ago, I kept calling on God, and it was really hard not to call on God to just get me out of there or, just make it go away. I did some of that. But what I really worked on doing was asking God to be with me. Asking God to be with me, to help me accept what was happening and to learn and grow from it. And I have to say, I'm also glad that God helped me get better. My timer went away. Let's see if it's still going. Oh, it is. Good. Okay. So, another point about all of this is that we each have our own karma, I believe, things that we need to work on and learn and grow from. And we also have our own dharma. And I've read a lot of meanings. I looked up dharma for a while. And you can talk about it as kind of the natural way of things. But I'm talking about it here as we all have our own natural way. So our own personal truths and our own personal path that we're on as human and divine beings. And we have our own blessings. So while I would really love to bring peace and comfort to everyone, and I certainly try to do as much as I can, I also have to honor their karma. And I have to honor their dharma, their path, and their blessings that they have on their path, and the lessons that they're here to learn. It's not in their best interest for me to try to stop that. So what's your goal for your human incarnation, for this particular one right now? What are you working on? Take a second, just think about that. My goal is to see everything as spirit, as God, and it ain't easy. Can I let myself encompass it all and not leave one bit out? Can I accept it all, embrace it all, love it all, grieve it all? Can I learn not to run away from the world or from myself, but to accept that everything is a reflection of the amazing love of spirit that's always in and around me? I'm not real good at it yet, but that's my goal. When it's time, after countless lifetimes, I believe our individuality will fall away, as I said a minute ago. I believe there will be no obstacles to being one with everything. As the chant says, and if you know it, sing it with me, we all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain flowing to the ocean. Now you know it, so sing. We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain flowing to the ocean. When we get to the ocean, we will no longer be distinguishable as separate beings. We'll be one. And I know that in one sense we're already there, but as I keep saying, reminding myself and you, that it doesn't work to pretend or ignore that right now I've taken a human incarnation to help me get to that complete realization. As Emmanuel said to Ram Dass, you came to this earth school, why not try taking the curriculum? So here's some ideas for some classes that might help you open your awareness to being one with it all. Practice going at a slow speed, physically slower, breathing more slowly, maybe driving more slowly. I don't know if I can do that one, but I've brought it in here. Try doing an open eye meditation. My spiritual teacher that I worked with for 20 years had us always bringing spirit here, instead of having to try and go away to get to it. Let yourself be simultaneously fierce and frightened. Practice being in fear, joy, tightness, peace, pain, and centeredness all the time, all at the same time. Imagine staying centered while you're overwhelmed, angry, or grieving. Always, always ask about everything. What can I learn? Love the heck out of the very hardest things. Settle rather than calm down, meaning don't change what you're experiencing, but just try to come to peace with it. Try to come to an acceptance of it. And that idea of settling instead of calming comes from the work of Resma Menakem. Whatever you're going through, whatever exists in your life, in the world, and in the universe, call on Spirit to help you say to it, hello, welcome. Imagine something that's really tough. There's nothing in the world going on that's tough, but just try to imagine. Say hello, welcome, come in. There's room for you at my table. I'm here for you. I love you. I won't desert you. I'm here to do whatever I can to help you. I think it's so important to make space for every single aspect of spirit to manifest. Love and peace, but also the pain of our lives in the world. I hope we as a spiritual community will continue to find new ways to bring God's love and peace to bear on pain. I hope we will each act in our own ways to support all the people, plants, and creatures, as well as the earth itself. My guru's instructions were to love everyone, serve everyone, and feed everyone. So I hope, and I think I'm preaching to the choir here, but let's open our hearts, locate our courage, and dive deep into the lessons that God is providing. Those lessons will lead us home, where everything is unconditional love. So here's the very last thing. Let's get our hands back out like we had them. You remember you had spirit in one hand and you had something difficult in the other, which is also spirit, but we make that distinction, right? Now, if you're willing, let your two hands join together and let the energies join. Love and pain, pain and love. This is what we have come to Earth School to learn. Be it all, embrace it all, love it all. Sub-ek, it's all one. Thank you.